Branches of linguistics, understanding language deeply. Welcome back. Today we're exploring the many fascinating branches of linguistics, the science of human language. Each branch offers a unique lens to understand how we speak, think, write, and interact. Let's get started. Microlinguistics focuses on the internal structure of language itself, sounds, words, and grammar, without looking at social or cultural factors. For example, studying how the word run changes form in English, runs, running, ran, purely as a system of rules. Macrolinguistics looks at language in its broader social, cultural, and psychological context. For instance, how the Spanish language evolved differently in Spain and Latin America due to cultural influences. Theoretical linguistics is about building models to describe the structure of language. For instance, Chomsky's universal grammar is a theoretical model explaining how all languages share common rules. Applied linguistics uses linguistic research to solve real-world problems like teaching languages, translation, and speech therapy. For example, designing ESL or English as a second language programs for immigrants. Comparative linguistics compares two or more languages to find common roots and historical connections. An example of this is comparing Sanskrit, Latin, and Greek to discover their shared ancestry in the Proto-Indo-European language. Contrastive linguistics studies the differences between languages, often to help language learners. For example, explaining why English articles, a, an, and the, are hard for native Japanese speakers who don't use them. Sociolinguistics examines how language varies and changes in different social contexts. Language is deeply tied to history. For example, English today carries influences from Old English, Norse, and Norman French due to historical invasions. A standard language is a version of a language accepted for official communication. For instance, Standard British English is used in government and education. A dialect is a regional variety of a language with its own unique grammar and vocabulary. Cockney English, spoken in East London, is one such example. Register refers to how we adjust our language depending on context. For example, speaking formally during a job interview versus casually with friends. Psycholinguistics studies how language is processed in the brain, how we produce and understand language mentally. One example is investigating how children acquire new vocabulary words without being directly taught. Diachronic linguistics looks at how languages change over time. For example, the word night used to be pronounced with a K sound at the beginning. Synchronic linguistics studies a language at a specific point in time, usually the present. For example, analyzing how people speak English today without worrying about how it evolved. Mathematical linguistics applies mathematical methods to understand language patterns and structures. For example, using algorithms to predict sentence structures in computational models. Ethnolinguistics explores how language relates to culture and ethnic identity. For example, studying how the Inuits have many words for snow, reflecting its importance in their culture. Computational linguistics develops computer programs that can understand and process human language. For instance, voice assistants like Siri or Alexa that can understand and respond to you. Clinical linguistics applies linguistic theories to diagnose and treat speech and language disorders. For example, helping stroke patients regain language skills through specialized therapy. Corpus linguistics studies large collections of text called corpora to analyze how language is actually used. For instance, Google's Ngram viewer shows how words rise and fall in popularity over centuries. Forensic linguistics uses language analysis in legal settings. An example of this is analyzing ransom notes or online threats to identify suspects in criminal investigations. Cognitive linguistics explores how language reflects the way we think and conceptualize the world. For example, saying time is money shows how we conceptualize time as a valuable resource. Contact linguistics studies what happens when speakers of different languages interact. For example, the development of Spanglish, a mix of Spanish and English, in bilingual communities. Folk linguistics looks at how non-experts perceive and think about language. For example, the common belief that British English is proper and American English is less correct, which linguists know isn't scientifically true. Stylistics studies the style of language, especially in literature, how writers create effects through word choice, sentence structure, and rhythm. For example, analyzing Shakespeare's use of metaphors and poetic devices to evoke emotion. And there you have it, 22 fascinating branches of linguistics, each offering a different window into the power and beauty of language. From the brain to the courtroom, from ancient history to futuristic AI, linguistics is everywhere. Thanks for joining us. And remember, every word you speak is part of an incredible, living system. Don't forget to deep dive into the world of language.